What's up, guys? Dr. Mo here, digital nomad physician at digitalnomadphysician.com. Welcome to Santiago de Compostela. So one of the recent experiences that I think was really, really interesting, a friend had in healthcare. It involved basically trying to navigate the healthcare system. And the healthcare system is really complicated. Our patients don't know where to go, who to talk to, which opinion is right, which opinion they should ignore. And the reason this often happens is because the physicians who are practicing in medicine are finding themselves in very constrained situations. They have huge financial obligations to a space that they're renting. They have huge surgical obligations, surgery centers and malpractice insurance and, nurse practitioners that they're hired under them. And so they're trying to make that business decision when they're running their practice. This is called a bias. A bias inherently means that you're not an asshole. You're not a dick. You're not trying to be biased. It's just inherent in your system. So when you're a surgeon, sometimes you will choose surgery because you can make a lot of money. When you buy a laser device to do, hemorrhoid treatment, for example, well, you got to pay that device off. You need to bring in a lot of people to do that procedure. And that is the bias. That is the inherent bias. So with this friend who recently navigated the healthcare system, there's a couple of things that I learned. And I wanted to summarize that here because I think it's of value to most of us. Obviously, this is Dr. Mo, digital nomad physician at digitalnomadphysician.com. And I talk a lot about building a virtual practice, becoming a virtualist, having a virtual first practice. Now, for me, that looks like having a few patients under me who understand the way I look at medicine, the way I manage health in my patients, the way I view healthcare. And over time, I think maybe these are people that I will have as my long-term primary care patients, or they might be people that I do a lot of preventative interventions on. No idea. I'm building that business. I'm building it slowly, and I'm collecting patients and trying to see what is it that they need. How niche do I want to get? So in this journey, I also learn a lot about what people in my age group are dealing with when it comes to health, right? Especially physicians. I'll tell you why. Because physicians already have a lot of knowledge about medicine. So when they're navigating a healthcare situation and they're perplexed, imagine how crazy it is for a patient to have to deal with that. So for me, I learn a lot. And so this friend who's a physician tried to deal with this issue, and he really had a hard time, because when he was first seen, it was very painful, and they were told that you need surgery right away, and they were kind of hesitant, and they were unwilling. It was really difficult for them to actually go and pay like $500 an hour to that specialist online who was willing to give them a clinical opinion. Why? Because we're trained, even though we're physicians, when we have a lot of money, we make a lot of money, we're mentally trained from a young age to save money. Money is of value, you shouldn't waste it, and we try to look at value in another light. What I mean by that, we take a look at how much it costs to go to that specialist with our insurance. $50 copay, $25 copay. Why the hell would I pay $500 an hour to this other doctor? So there is that bias, and there is that inherent disconnect, because we're like, no, that must be crazy, that must be flagrant, that must be wasteful. And so this person may end up suffering for a lot longer, but I'm not going to spend that money. The second issue that comes up, so this is the part of the money and thinking about it in perspective of how things are priced normally. The second issue is being resourceful, knowing where to go, what to do, where to search. How do I know this doctor is a good doctor? And this part is kind of interesting, because people will approach it the way they will approach it. They will look online, they will look at that doctor, they will look at that doctor's face and be like, I'm a butcher. I don't want to go to that guy, I don't want to go to that girl, right? So the way you present yourself as a doctor online, the way you present your material, your content, is going to be really critical, because the people who are going to see you as this asshole to begin with, just from the face that you have, from your look, from your video, from your audio recording, they're probably going to be like, ooh, I don't want to work with that guy. And vice versa. If you're kind of that dick, then you're going to have dick patients who are going to come to you like, yeah, man, that's exactly what I want. This is what I want you to do, and I don't care how much it costs. I don't want that kind of patient. You may want, of course, some of you may want that, because you want to really niche, and you want to kind of attract people who might be paying you a lot of money for your expertise. But that's kind of something to consider. So the first part is the money. The second part is the patient's ability to be able to find you and that impression they have of you when they find you. Let's focus on number one, because that part is rather easy, the pricing part. I think one of the most important things you should consider doing is offer different price points. So I just wrote an article on my website offering 3 different price points for your patients, and I think this is of value. You can think of it in different ways. You can think of 3 different price points in 3 different ways, right? In a way, you can offer a 1-hour consult at $500, or you can offer a 30-minute consult at $300 and a 1-hour consult at $200. Essentially, the point is 15, 30, and 1 hour. And the point is to bring that price down to something that's manageable for someone. They're like, I can pay $125 for 15 minutes, but man, I'm not really going to get a lot of information in 15 minutes. So maybe I need to do 2 hours. Maybe I need to do 30 minutes. 30 minutes costs this much. And of course, you always, as a business owner, you need to be like, if you did a 15-minute appointment, we can't go over, that's it. We cut it short here. You can book another appointment for another 15, another 15, another 15. And I think that's going to push people into the price points that might be right for them. But you also need to have stuff on your website, on your personal website, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever you are, just to demonstrate that you can talk about a lot of information regarding that specialty. So that price point idea is that you have a kind of a cheaper $50, 15 minutes, and then bump it up from there. It depends on your specialty and what you're in. But the other price points I'm talking about, sometimes a patient may want to read a lot of some other content that you have. And so you could sell them a membership to get into that. That membership could help them open up a bunch of videos that you recorded. Or maybe you have this community that they can access and they can do a bunch of search. However it is you want to structure it, I think being able to have people pay these different price points to say, I don't really want a 1-hour consult, but I want to read more about what this guy has to say on laser surgery, on this interventional treatment for this kind of medical problem. Great. That's where you go. That's what you might be willing to pay. But you also want the super high-end one, like Concierge, full level from beginning to the end, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. I will go with you from the beginning to this to the end, no matter what it costs. I got you. That's very powerful. That's very interesting. And so you want to offer that as well, because that could be a great moneymaker for you, but it could also be a really wonderful learning experience because you take the patient through the entire journey. And now that patient knows a second medical opinion is included. You'll pay for that. You'll pay for that test. You'll pay for this. You'll do all that. And in fact, here in Spain, when when I went for my hand stuff, there was a surgeon who's like, look, if you ever need a CT, in this big package price point, that's included. If you need an MRI, that's included. If you have any complications from surgery, that's included. Whatever happens in the hospital, I'll pay for it out of my own pocket in this price package. That's very powerful. That's essentially offering me insurance on top of me paying the price for the procedure. So many people might be willing to pay for that. In this price point, I do want to say something, guys. I am flabbergasted. I've learned something very new, that people are not willing to pay a lot of money for their health, and it is shocking. No, I'm not saying everybody. There's probably the 5-10% who are willing to pay whatever the fuck it takes. Probably 20% who are willing to pay whatever it takes to get really good care. But these are difficult people to find, and a good number of them kind of buy into the UCLA, Harvard, Hopkins system, and they're like, oh, that's where I'm going to get my best care. So we're left with a little bit. So a lot of people are not willing to pay a lot of money to get care. You're going to have to go out there and demonstrate to them how important, how good you are at what you do. You're going to have to ping them. You're going to have to message them. When somebody books a session with you, a health session with you, don't be afraid to message them back and say, hey, how are you doing? How are things going? What are you feeling? Are you having any other questions? Great, let me send you another link. Let's do another 15 minutes. I think it's worth the investment. I will give you money back if it's not worth the investment, right? Just engaging the person that way. The second part, guys, I'm going to be brief about it. If you're not out there creating content, putting your face out there, and people are seeing what you're like, what you're about, they're going to be in for a shock when they come and see you or interact with you. Maybe they'll pay the money and then they'll leave you a bad review. Maybe they'll pay you the money and then they're like, I don't know, that person just didn't. You want to get your information out there for free. You want to get your personality to come through. That person, the same personality you're going to have with the patient. I am not putting on a personality for you. Maybe a little bit, but I don't think a lot. This is my personality when I talk to patients. This is my personality when I talk to health coaching clients, to consulting clients. This is me. This is how I am. And you want to do that. No, it's not going to attract a lot. You're not going to have a 1 million following on any channel if you're doing content like this. But the people who want to find you, who care to find you, who are willing to work with you and engage with you in the things that you love doing, they're gonna pay, and they're gonna watch this stuff, and they're the ones who are going to be attracted to this stuff. So what I'm saying is, do try to record content, whether it's video, audio, whether it's writing, and try to get your ideas and opinions and personality across, because the people who are going to find that are going to be like, all right, this is it. I got to go with this guy. I got to book a session with him, and offer these different price points, as we said. If you have any questions, check me out at digitalnomadphysician.com. You can email me. I'm not going to tell you my email. Just go ahead and go to digitalnomadphysician.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. And by the way, for those of you who are interested, I am running my course right now, how to become a virtualist, how to start your own virtual practice. Check that out at nomadphysician.com. Take care, guys.